Hi, I'm Nguyen, founding president of Bitcoin Association. I'm here to tell you about an exciting development in the Bitcoin SV network. It's the Quasar Protocol Upgrade on July 24th, 2019. Watch and you'll learn all about what the Quasar Upgrade is and what it means for everyone in the Bitcoin SV ecosystem. First, what's changing with the Quasar Upgrade? This upgrade is focused on scaling. The change planned is to lift the default block size hard cap from its current 128 megabytes to 2 gigabytes. That's 2,000 megabytes. The Quasar upgrade represents a key step in Bitcoin SV's journey to unlock the massive on-chain scaling power that was always possible within Bitcoin and enable BSV to truly become the global enterprise blockchain. BSV can already handle 300 plus transactions per second comfortably. This capacity is continually being expanded and is expected to cross over 1,000 transactions per second in the months after the Quasar network upgrade. Does this mean we'll see 2 gigabyte blocks right away? The short answer, not immediately. The default block size hard cap will be 2 gigabytes, but initially a significant portion of the BSV network's miner hash rate will manually set their hard cap to a lower but still very robust level of 512 megabytes. That's far higher than any other competing Bitcoin project. This will give the BSV ecosystem time to adapt to this new world of larger block sizes and gradually prepare for a new era of gigabyte-sized blocks. Wait a minute, why are we talking about different block size caps? Well, there's actually 3 different block size caps to consider when thinking about how block size governance works in Bitcoin. Normally, people often talk about 2 caps, the soft cap and a hard cap. But it's worth actually thinking about 2 different versions of the hard cap for 3 in total. Number 1, there's the soft cap. This is a miner-specific setting that indicates the maximum size block a specific node will try to mine. Next, there's the hard cap. This is the maximum size block that a miner will accept as valid. This is the setting that the Bitcoin SV node team intends to remove entirely in February 2020 with what's called the Genesis upgrade. Now, the hard cap should be considered in 2 different ways. First, there is the default hard cap. This is a default setting for the hard cap. Now, if a Bitcoin SV node operator does not manually set the value for this, it will use the default. With the Quasar upgrade that is happening on July 24th, 2019, the default value has been changed from 128 megabytes to 2 gigabytes. But that's just the default setting. There's also what we consider the consensus hard cap. No matter what number the default setting is for the hard cap, the majority of the network's mining hash rate may use a different setting. In this case, we've previously announced that a group of miners totaling what we expect to be a majority of the BSV hash rate have signaled their intent to manually set their hard cap not at 2 gigabytes, but at 512 megabytes. Again, that's still much higher than the previous 128 megabyte default hard cap, but lower than the 2 gigabyte default hard cap. Over time, the mining hash rate may, through consensus, change that and get increasingly closer, if not at the level of the 2 gigabyte default hard cap. So there you go. There are 3 different block size caps to consider with Bitcoin governance. The soft cap, 2 types of hard caps, a default hard cap and the consensus hard cap. But what if there's a bigger block on the network than 512 megabytes? Well, your node will accept that block initially, but then one of 2 things will happen. Option 1, if the miner that mined the larger block has a majority of hash rate behind it, the chain will get longer and you'll continue following the longest chain. The other miners will have to choose to either raise their limit and follow that longest chain or remain forked. We expect this to be the more likely scenario. Option 2, if the miner that mined the larger block has a minority of the hash rate, that block will get orphaned and your Bitcoin SV instance will reorganize back to the majority chain. contrary to what the Bitcoin world has been incorrectly told for the past 10 years. The concept of orphan blocks are not bad. They are not a security risk to the network. Orphan blocks are instead a feature of Bitcoin and are actually part of how Bitcoin's Nakamoto consensus is supposed to work. Why should developers and enterprises care about this upgrade? Well, the short answer is bigger capacity means so much more you can do on the BSV blockchain. By increasing the throughput and data capacity of the network, Bitcoin SV is creating the blockchain that can truly be the global public data ledger for all enterprise applications. That starts with greater data capacity, which also helps to keep transaction fees very, very low on BSV and allows the ability to do micropayments and all types of microtransactions. That opens up a world of creative opportunities for developers and enterprises to build powerful applications on Bitcoin SV. Now, why should miners and mining pools care about this upgrade? Well, miners need to be aware that massive scaling is critical for their profitability, especially after the next block reward halving that happens in May of 2020. That will reduce the block reward subsidy, that's a fixed amount of coins for every block mine, from the current 12.5 coins to just 6.25 coins in 2020. And then again, that cuts in half again in 2024, when the fixed subsidy is reduced to 3.125 coins, and again every several years after that. For mining to remain profitable on the Bitcoin network, miners need to earn more in transaction fees from each block to compensate them for the lower block reward subsidy that they get on a fixed basis. This is only possible on Bitcoin SV. In fact, during a May 21st, 2019 test on the Bitcoin SV scaling test network, we saw a 1.42 gigabyte block mine. That's the biggest we've seen on a scaling test network. That resulted for the first time in transaction fees to the miner, which were more than the current fixed block reward subsidy of 12.5 coins. Over time, this will be very important to ensure that miners make money from the transaction fees as the fixed block reward subsidy continues to decrease. This is how Bitcoin's economic model is meant to work, and this is what Satoshi always envisioned to ensure miners remain profitable. The Quasar upgrade is a key step on Bitcoin SV's network to get to this economic future of Bitcoin. Will this create a cultural change for Bitcoin? Yes, yes, and yes. The Quasar upgrade represents a significant cultural shift for Bitcoin. By separating the default hard cap, which is set by protocol developers, from the consensus hard cap, which is set by a majority of the mining hash rate, the Bitcoin SV node team is intentionally weakening, diluting the power of that default setting by protocol developers. This is a very active and intentional effort by the Bitcoin SV node team to push the responsibility for capacity consensus of the network into the hands of miners, no longer keeping it in the hands of protocol developers. Miners, you are now responsible for managing block size consensus on the Bitcoin SV network. And if a miner makes mistakes, well, it will cost them because they have an economic interest in making the best decisions. So miners will start learning that it is their role to manage block sizes based upon market forces and their own economic incentives, rather than leaving the determination of the block size for the whole network to be arbitrarily dictated by protocol developers. That has happened for too long on Bitcoin. That's what happened on BTC. It's what's happening now on BCH. On Bitcoin SV, miners, it is your responsibility now to take management of block size consensus into your own hands. And the competitive marketplace will determine what that is, just like Bitcoin always was intended to be. What happens next? Well, in February 2020, the Bitcoin SV network will take another step and a final step in this important cultural transition with its Genesis upgrade. That's named because Bitcoin SV is getting back to the genesis of Bitcoin and the Satoshi protocol. In the Genesis upgrade, the Bitcoin SV node team will completely remove the default hard cap for block size. More accurately, the default hard cap will be infinite. This will open the door to infinite scaling of the Bitcoin SV network to whatever block size the market forces and miners believe are appropriate. It can be unlimited. Over the next 6 months, we hope miners will learn their new role in managing the consensus hard cap on the Bitcoin SV network. During this time, the Bitcoin SV node team will work on getting miners better tools to manage uncapped block sizes more safely. Furthermore, what about the operators of blockchain listeners? These are people and companies who run an instance of the Bitcoin SV software who do not write to the blockchain, do not mine, such as wallets, exchange operators, or application providers. Well, operators of blockchain listeners are slowly going to get accustomed to the idea that they have to make peace with orphan blocks and block reorganizations. Or at the very least, they need to manage in an environment where orphan blocks and block reorgs are normalized. Block reorganizations do not break services or cause loss of transactions. Instead, they only appear to shock or surprise people who have been incorrectly listening to the Bitcoin core development group for way too long. The Quasar upgrade on Bitcoin SV will help BSV participants adapt to this new reality in preparation for the ultimate Genesis upgrade in February 2020. We will finally be unlocking the true power of Bitcoin, what Satoshi always envisioned: unlimited scaling, a competitive marketplace for miners and market forces to determine what block sizes are appropriate for a network, and what enterprises and application providers can do to help fuel that usage. That's exciting. That will be the future of Bitcoin, and that's all happening here on Bitcoin SV. I hope you'll join us on this journey and build with us on Bitcoin SV as we unlock the true power of Bitcoin's original design, protocol, and Satoshi vision. It's all happening here on Bitcoin SV, and we can't wait for you to build with us. Thanks, I'm Jimmy Nguyen.